Good morning, everyone. As I've been presented by Joseph, I'm Commander Loïc Moudouma from Gabon. I'm normally French speaking. It gives me only 15 minutes, and I think it's unfair. You should give me more than the other panelists because I'm French speaking. So my English will be my Franglish, and you may be struggling in order to listen to my presentation. Thank you. You may realize that talk about the job that has been achieved within 5 years in 15 minutes should be short. I will try to keep it very concise in order to give the time to the audience to ask more questions. In its broader current definition, the Gulf of Guinea goes from Cap Las Palmas to southern of Angola to the Namib River. It does provide a synthesis of West Africa and Central Africa by its central component. It enjoyed a strategic position which brought it into contact with other sub-regions of Africa. According to the McKinsey and Ernst & Young Institute recently published, the economic performance of Africa since the turn of the 21st century has been remarkable, even in the aftermath of the global financial and economic crisis. Growth has averaged 5% per annum over the last decade, consistently outperforming global economic trends. Indeed, the rapid growth occurred alongside a decline in conflicts, improved institutional and regulatory quality, and the emergence of increasingly accountable and democratic government, as well as a better governance. Talk about the maritime resources and opportunity in Africa. The long and open 3,000 nautical mile coastline of West Africa is rich in hydrocarbon, fish, and other mineral resources. These attributes provide immense potential for maritime commerce, resource extraction, shipping, and development. Shipping container in the West Africa region grew 40% annually between 1995 and 2005. Much of its oil and mineral production continues to feed the energy requirement of Africa, Asia, Europe, and the United States of America. In short, West Africa depends on the sea for economic prosperity and development. What is the problem now? Since the year 2000, we have noticed an increasing activity of piracy attacks on the high seas and even in Ireland. This represents a growing threat in this part of the world. These acts of piracy are characterized by the diversion of tankers whose cargoes of crude oil are brought into pirate refineries as the work of a crime syndicate operating this part of the world. The loss of oil revenue caused by these attacks represents a significant decline in oil revenues for many countries in the sub-region. A major crisis in this sector will have incalculable consequences for their economies and hence their political stability because most of them depends at 60% on the GDP from oil. The hostage taking of oil operators for ransom is also perpetrated by the French groups as a sign of dissatisfaction within local communities facing growing inequalities and marginalization. Within the year 2013, 1,800 seafarers were victims of attacks. Similarly, the increase in attacks has caused maritime insurance companies to raise the risk premium for ships traveling in that region, raising the cost of oil goods and having a severe economic impact on West African economy. Illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing is an important protein source. The lack of fish due to poaching will lead to food insecurity. So it's a threat to national security in that part of the world. The region is suffering losses estimated between 18.28 million and $1.58 billion per year due to illegal fishing. Drug trafficking from Latin America countries embarked on large industrial trailers are passed through sub-Saharan Africa, where the state is completely absent at sea. The illegal immigration is still going on over there. In the short, the Gulf of Guinea is now the most insecure waterway globally. Pirate attacks in the Gulf of Guinea is mostly oil-oriented and also tended to be more violent than off of the coast of Somalia. The problem is worse than just because African countries haven't yet established a control over the West African maritime waters. This maritime domain awareness is really wide because the states are really absent at sea. Some progress have been made by the country and the regional economic communities. During the last year, 2013, as Joseph said already, we organized a summit that brought 25 countries to discuss about maritime issue. And this showed us the willingness, the political willingness of head of state to do something concerning the maritime security. And we signed the code of conduct. We signed also the regional political declaration and the memorandum of understanding between ECCAS, ECOWAS, and Gulf of Guinea Commission. At the sub-regional level, within ECCAS and ECOWAS, we have established two different operations called Zone E and Zone D. These has consistently reduced the pirate attacks in that area. In 2011, we are facing 39 attacks. And after the operation were put in place, we reported only 2 attacks in 2012. And this is also the same thing within the Zone E, comprising Nigeria, Togo, and Benin. That was a real success. How the partnership has evolved since the recent year. In 2011, the United States of America helped both community, ECCAS and ECOWAS, to meet in Garmisch and start working together and see whether it can be the work can be done regionally. This is where really the thing started. After Garmisch, both ECCAS and ECOWAS met several times, and this brought us to the summit that was held in Yaoundé. In summary, I can say the U.S. has largely contributed to the summit of the head of state and the government held in June in Cameroon, particularly the team collaboration between AFRICOM and ECCAS. And I think this is working very well just because, as we have noticed, the U.S. didn't come with a strategy of a guideline. They came and they took what we had already, and we did common plan. And up to date, you are still working on the scheme that was already primarily established by ECCAS and ECOWAS. In terms of partnership, the U.S. has this African Partnership Station, which call all partners to work together of the overall security of the Gulf of Guinea. This is a very good program, as well as a capability building and cooperation. As an example, it was with the help of the U.S. that Cameroon and Nigeria came and started working together. You all know that they were a little bit reluctant because of the crisis of Bakassi. Since 2010, the U.S. has been funding some multinational naval exercise that have been involving many countries and even European countries. All these exercises are taking place in countries of ECCAS or ECOWAS. I think the U.S. should keep helping Gulf of Guinea countries on the implementation of the Code of Conduct signed during the summit in Yaoundé. This Code of Conduct is very important because it's the legal frame we are still looking for. So it's very important, and up to date, it has not been yet implemented. The European has set a special program called CRIMGO, but it lacks of a poor implementation because when they did the plan, they didn't call the African expert to work with them. We are still waiting a lot from United Nations because since the resolution 2018 and the resolution 2013, nothing has been done really by the United Nations. Let's talk about some priority areas in which this partnership should evolve. During the last 4 years, the U.S. has helped discussion at the ops and tactical level. But we need now to improve the African Partnership Station Forum and present it at the political and strategic level. And the U.S. could show to the individual countries how to develop national maritime security strategies, assessment, action plan, funding mechanism. This is what they're already doing. Unfortunately, many states don't have the feedback of the minister on some decisions they may have been taking concerning the matter. So a better case needs to be made for the president to understand the importance in investment of each country's on maritime safety and security. I just want to say that at that level, the APS, African Partnership Station Program, should move a little bit up because we have been working at the up national level, but the problem of make funding in Africa comes to the ministerial level and even the president's level. So the existing forum is still good and can keep going on, but we need to bring the discussion at another level. It's very important for the US to keep helping these countries on harmonizing action state at sea because many partners, many oil and industrial companies, that sometimes they don't know in a single country to which entity discuss, to which entity engage. And also about the maritime insurance, because this is becoming a very, very big issue in Central Africa and even West Africa. I think the US must help Africa to organize a forum, still at APS level, in order to discuss with IMO and transport company to review the insurance premium, whose company that they are refusing to share the risk. African countries now believe that many cases of piracy could have been instrumentalized for the benefit of maritime security and insurance companies, because only local countries that are importing goods consumption are paying the price, even where governments are trying to put in place subsidies program on some products. And African SCSS, as they are already doing, should provide more technical assistance focused on maritime safe security sector reform program. So we need to engage a large reform programs in Africa because this touch mostly the maritime governance and the maritime economy. I want to tell you that I've been in most of these countries and most of them don't have any maritime economy program. Probably because they don't know the revenue that can be made from this maritime economy. So this is a very, very, very important point, as well as on the Maritime Civil and Criminal Authority. African maritime border in that area are not well yet determined, and the deep offshore oil program on which many countries are now relying for boosting up their economy could lead once again to some disputes. So we need to determine our borders, maritime borders in Africa. And I think the US can help and can do a great job in that area. I'm an expert, so I'm not a politician. You may be a politician, so I want to take this opportunity to give you my question so you can ask this question to the politician. Probably in 1 week because I don't have the best position to do so. I started by an economic introduction because I wanted to lead the discussion to some areas. Many African countries have declared a strategic developing plans called plan stratégique. They call it plan stratégique du Gabon, plan stratégique du Congo, plan stratégique de Guinée, and so and so and so. But if you read all these strategic plans, they all depend at least at 60% on the revenue from the offshore. And most of the head of state, they may know that their maritime environment are not secure. How can they achieve these plans if they don't secure this maritime environment? The War Risk Management and Risk Assessment groups have declared this zone as a war zone, and head of state don't at least care about the fact that the people is struggling on buying imported goods. They are trying to put some subsidies program, but they don't know the real origin of this increasing the price. Why the price are increasing? Sorry. As I said previously, no single country in that area can say they have a structured maritime economy. They don't have. You can go to some Ministry of Economy and ask them, show me your economy department. They don't have. The fish are still imported. I mean, the fish in cans are imported. Very good idea should have been to say, as they did, they don't want anymore to export timbers without an added value. I think the CLEEN program can also be done for fish. Because the fish is caught in Africa, it goes in Europe and come back in cans, and we are still buying our fish in cans. In terms of programs, we have drafted a lot of strategy, ECCAS, ECOWAS, and even single country, but the implementation is still poor. Like the CRESMAC and the CRESMAO. The CRESMAC is the entity that is supposed to organize the maritime safety security in ECCAS, and the CRESMAO is the equivalent in ECOWAS. We have finished to draft the program since 2010, but we are still waiting for the implementation of this program. This means that we are still having a problem of funding mechanism because it's still the fact of the money. When you can just imagine that 12 days of oil production, only 12 days of oil production for these countries is sufficient to buy assets and start doing a very good job. Only 12 days production is enough. So the US or other countries, they have the possibility to talk to the head of state, with minister, and ask them why are they not investing in that area. Because when we have been discussing with some oil industries and some industry, they told us, if you start investing in your maritime domain, we'll come and we can support you. So you need probably to convince our head of state to do so. In conclusion, this is probably not part of my presentation, but have the opportunity to say that I think African leaders still need a technology transfer at the ministry level. You American, we have been working at the operational level, but I think the solution might not come from there. You need now to work. We need to bring the forum at the upper level. We need now to bring ministries, companies, industrial companies, fisheries issues together to discuss. This is why I said now we need to bring the IPS a little bit upper. Just because even when head of states have taken decision, ministers are still struggling to implement. So that's why I said ECCAS and AFRICOM should now put in place educational and communicative program at the strategic level in order to have the things really done. We need a better dialogue hosted by regional economic communities to coordinate effort by all stakeholders, member states, international partners, and industry involved in offshore extractive industry, trade, and local community that depend on the fish protein. This is what I can say at that time. I know the time is too short and I couldn't explain all what I have to tell you. Probably during the discussion, we can come back in some aspect I might not be developing during my presentation. Thank you very much.